We will call to order the Oak Island Town Council regular meeting of July 8th, 2014. The council will enter into its invocation led by Mayor Pro Tempore Medlin, and then we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for a beautiful day you've given us today, and we're so blessed to live in this beautiful place. Thank you for the privilege we have to serve our fellow man. And our prayer tonight is, as we deliberate and deal with issues that affect this town, that we would have wisdom, that we would make good decisions, and that we would make our decisions based on what's best for the people of Oak Island. That's why we're here. And we would ask you tonight to be with those in our military, wherever they are tonight, in harm's way, that you would protect them. Thank you for the freedom that we have in this country. And we know were it not for many who've given their lives over the years, we would not have the freedom we do. And we're grateful. We are truly grateful, and we thank you for it. Again, we ask for your guidance and your direction tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Medlin. First on the agenda is council reports. Councilor Weinkauf.
Yes, Madam Mayor. I'd like to actually say thank you to our Parks and Rec, thank you to our police department, thank you to the fire and EMS and town staff who made Beach Day a great success. And then turn around and get planned for a possible tropical storm or hurricane. I think they did a great job working as a team, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilor Weinkauf. Councilor Painter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Two quick things. At our bi-monthly meeting of the Brunswick Beaches Consortium, which was on June 19th at Sunset Beach, our town manager and I attended, and he asked the group if they would consider supporting Oak Island's Lockwood Folly restoration, Eastern Channel dredging project, which would have the added benefit of providing dredge material, beach quality sand for our west end. And they agreed to do that and did write a letter of support to the Division of Water Resources and copied our Representative Eiler and Senator Rabin. The other thing I'd like to mention is that the golf course, the Par 3 Golf Course Committee has been meeting, and I would encourage everyone to go out and take advantage of the Oak Island Par 3 Golf Course at South Harbor. It's coming along nicely and getting a lot of play. The Golf Course Committee has sponsored one tournament in May, and there will be another one coming up in August. And also they are looking into what grants may be available from USGA that wouldn't even require matching funds, and so they'll be investigating that in the upcoming weeks.
Councilor Medley.
Just to add to what Jeff said, thank all of those who were involved in making Beach Day such a success. We've been here 14 years, and I think this was the largest crowd I've ever seen here at any one time on the beach. And it was a busy week for everyone, especially for our police and fire and EMS people. But thankfully, it went off without a hitch. We had a few water emergencies, but those were handled in a very timely way and safe way, and we lost no lives, and for that we're grateful.
Thank you, Mr. Medley. Councilor Scott.
Just one thing. We received a complaint from a Karen Riff, or Rife, R-I-F-E, and she's complaining about the people on the beachfront setting off fireworks. and she said that they were on the rooftop decks, driveways, and sparks were flying, and they were pretty much terrified. And I'm going to have to say that I agree with her, and this is just part of the debris that came off of my roof 2 blocks away from the beach. And these fireworks rivaled what the town actually did the night before. And I would like to add to the agenda for next month discussion of these fireworks and what can be done to slow this down, because they are extremely dangerous.
Thank you. Councilor Kaiser.
No report.
Okay. Mayor's report, real quickly. Echo Councilor Weinkauf's sentiments, thanking everyone. And I had several comments that the fireworks we had this year were the best we'd ever had. I would like to thank, in addition, all of the businesses in the business corridor, the commercial corridor, and everybody in town that put out their American flags for the celebration. I saw a Facebook post, and they wanted the town to put up American flags. We don't have to. The people in town take care of that for us. So if you drove up East Oak Island Drive during the last week, you would see all the display of our United States flag. It was very heartwarming. The July 4th parade was fantastic. As Councilor Medlin said, I think we had more people there than any parade I've ever seen. It went off without a hitch. The weather just could not have been better. It was glorious. Council needs to excuse me for a minute. I have to tell y'all something. I left him plenty of time to get up here this evening because I knew we were going to have a crowd because of the massive response about the dogs. I'm pulling out of my driveway. There at the corner of the side street at my road is an intact male red-nosed pit bull. He's having a good time. So I call animal control. And I said, yeah, I'll stay with him till you get here, and I'll follow him wherever he goes. Well, I pull over, and he comes to my door. So I get my leash that I always keep in my car. I put him on leash. I'm standing there beside my car thinking, okay, I got to get to the council meeting. And thank goodness a neighbor drove by, and I flagged him in. I said, here, hold him till Tammy gets here. God works in mysterious ways. That was a very good, he had on a collar with an ID, his name, and the telephone number of the people. He just got out somewhere. So that was a very apropos occurrence for coming to tonight's meeting. And that is my report. Next, we have adjustment approval of the agenda.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilor Painter. This is for the purposes of moving an agenda item. All those in favor, please. And it is unanimous.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to see us move, or I move that we move new business item number 1 to just before public comments and general topics and agenda items on our agenda.
Okay, we will move number 1 to immediately before public comments. And there's a very positive reason we're doing that, everybody. I have a couple of adjustments to the consent agenda. We need to add approval of an extension of our audit contract. The state has received the audit, but they want to see a signed extension of the audit contract. So that will be consent agenda item number 2. And then to new business, item number 4, direct the staff to seek local legislation to rescind the Oak Island ETJs. Does anybody else have any? Pardon?
We're going to add the presentation as well.
Oh, I forgot to call for presentations before adjustments of the agenda. Yes. Before we had this agenda items, I forgot to call for a presentation by the beach ambassadors.
If I could just for a second, the attorney advises that there's not a need for a closed session, that we could take that off this evening too.
Okay. Amend the agenda to remove the closed session. Anybody else have any amendments or adjustments? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
So moved by Councilor Medlin, seconded by Councilor Kaiser. He nodded his head, Scotty. All those in favor, please. Thank you. To back up one item on the agenda, we have a presentation by the beach ambassadors. I believe we have a representative, please. You want to do the beach, yeah, right here. And for those of you who don't know, the Beach Ambassadors is a group of volunteers that's working with our Beach Preservation Society. This idea was a brainchild of Councilor Medlin's, and they patrol our beaches with information on our ordinances and filling in holes, picking up trash, taking up your items. And we have 20 now?
No, ma'am, we have 34.
34 volunteers that help. Very friendly atmosphere to our tourists. Please give your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Council. My name is Skip Cox. I'm the manager of the Oak Island Beach Ambassador Program. I gave a presentation in May of this year, the first one after we started the program on Easter weekend. So tonight's is just an update of that. It'll likely go a little bit beyond 5 minutes, but we'll do our best not to go too much further. As we're now into our third month of existence, we remain pleased with the program's progress so far. The positive feedback that we receive from both residents and visitors is quite encouraging. Residents in particular are very happy to see the program in place. And without fail, everyone that we approach thanks us for our efforts as we depart. So it makes us feel good about what we're doing. As I just mentioned, we now have 34 trained volunteers. We trained 10 more on July the 2nd, just last week. The beach patrol area, we spoke about last time about segmenting the west end. We started on the east end. We have now segmented the west end. We have 5 patrol sections on the west end going from Middleton to the Point, and then we have the 4 original patrol sections which go from Montgomery Street to Middleton. So we now have 9 sections. Patrol teams, we initially started with 2 ambassadors per team, but due to the fact that we have segmented the west end, we do need increased coverage, so we're recommending or suggesting if you want to patrol by yourself, ambassadors are free to patrol by themselves. Our schedule, we started with Saturday through Monday. We continue to be at Saturday through Monday, but due to the large holiday expectations in terms of crowds, we suggested to the ambassadors that they try to patrol if they could during the week of the 4th, ending on Friday the 4th, as well as this week. We are still considering adding Fridays to that schedule, but I think we'll be training additional volunteers before we add to that schedule. We have a scheduling tool now that was designed by Daria Kowick, who is our UNCW summer intern. She's been extremely valuable to the program so far. And so the ambassadors can schedule themselves and they can partner with others if they wish to do that. Patrol times, we talked about 4 to 6 p.m. We felt that was a good time for people preparing to leave the beach in the day. But at the request of some of the ambassadors, we have decided to open that window from, say, early afternoon, even into the evening. This gives ambassadors opportunities to accommodate their personal plans for the weekend, as well as scheduling around tide schedules. It's very difficult to patrol during high tide. The beach is shrunk, people are crowded, and it's just, you find yourself slogging through the sand and the water. So that will help as well. We have implemented a report process. This is where the ambassadors are asked to submit a report after every patrol, specifically if there's an incident that they need to report. This will allow us to build a database of patrols so that we can track beach coverage, we can record ambassador hours, and we maintain a photo gallery for documenting violations as well as for training purposes. It gives the ambassador the opportunity to report a specific incident that he may encounter or she may encounter so that the necessary departments can be notified and the issue can be resolved in a timely manner. Program issues. We have 4 key ordinances and 1 key item that ambassadors focus on during a patrol. The first one is beach gear. We all know that this year is the first year where all beach gear, unattended beach gear that is, has to be off the beach from 8:30 p.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. So far, most of the public has been receptive to the new code regarding canopies and tents. Unfortunately, we continue to have far too many items in addition to the canopies and the frames that are left overnight. Public Works has made a number of runs in the evenings to confiscate, or shall I say remove, these items, but it's critical to the success of the program that we continue to enforce this ordinance so that word gets out and the numbers of these violations reduced. There was a run last night on the west end. It was a mess, and the people were not able to even get to the east end. So the east end is being taken care of tonight. A lot of material out there: chairs, toys, abandoned canopies, anything. They just leave anything. So it's an issue. The next one is dune violations. For the most part, people understand the need for the dune protection, and they're very happy to comply. There have been some incidents where compliance was not immediate, but they were quickly resolved. The biggest problem reported by the ambassadors is our signage marking beach accesses. Some are good, some are in need of some help. If we can clearly mark all of the beach accesses, then by default we can only hope that those that are not marked are not beach accesses. So we're hoping that we can work on that. Educating the public, residents and visitors, is really the key to dune violations. I was on the beach with my family on Saturday, and I carry my vest with me when I'm not working, but I just put it on just for the heck of it and walked around a little bit. And this lady ran up to me and she says, "Can you give me some help?" And I said, "Sure." She says, "This guy over here, he's transporting his gear every day back and forth across the dunes." This was between 5th West and 2nd West. 5th West is an emergency access, clearly marked. 2nd, not so clearly marked. So I went up to the house. He was sitting on the porch. I asked him if he would mind if I came up and talked to him. He was very nice, very agreeable. A first-time resident to Oak Island, had no idea what he was doing. I said, "Well, please see that you have this access and you have this access, so if you could please use that." And he was very agreeable to doing that. So education really a key in dune violations. Dog leash ordinance. This is going to get a lot of play, I believe. This particular ordinance, we also need to increase enforcement if we are to reduce the number of violations. The ordinance is clear, posted at each beach access, and during the tourist season, of course, it's a no-brainer. It's 24/7. So unfortunately, it seems that many dog owners don't quite feel that that ordinance applies to them, but we will continue to emphasize the importance of compliance with this ordinance. Holes on the beach. The number of abandoned holes increases with crowds. You can expect that. But for some reason, the size of the holes seem to be increasing as well. We're doing our best to approach people as soon as we see a hole in progress, but many times they are abandoned and the owner cannot be located. It is then up to the ambassador to fill it in as much as possible, but this can take time. It takes energy, time and energy which are better suited to continuing the patrol. So some holes are just too large and too deep, in which case we take pictures and we forward those to Public Works. Litter, the final one. Litter, it's always going to be a problem with us. We know that. And the July 4th weekend was no exception. Cigarette butts, as I reported in May, big problem. Ambassadors have distributed plastic butt containers to the smoking people. We've actually run out of them, so we need to find another source for those. But I personally placed 2 signs at each pier, just a small sign that we got from some gentlemen down in southern Brunswick County. But still a lot more work needs to be done if we're going to curtail that. So in conclusion, I feel very good about the program so far, and all the ambassadors appreciate the support of the town to enforce the ordinances as we move forward into another busy season. We still have a lot of months to go, and we've got many miles on the beach to cover. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any council member have any questions, Mr. Cox?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, Skip.
Yes.
You're kind of like a blessing in disguise.
I'm sorry?
I said, you're kind of like a blessing in disguise. We needed someone like you to manage this program, and you've done such an exemplary job. I just wanted to acknowledge that in front of all these people and just say that we made great strides this year, and this is the first year, and it is an education process.
It is.
It'll get better, so don't get discouraged.
Right. Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, we moved agenda item number 1 to immediately after presentations. Councilor Painter.
Well, let me just start by saying, wow. If the political parties could bottle this up and figure out how to get a response like this, what a response we've had, and I think maybe the mayor even has a tally of the responses. I do know that the responses have been overwhelmingly in favor of not changing hours that dogs are allowed on the beach. I believe that we did receive a few comments from a few people that did think we should, but those were less than 10. And I know that we had hundreds of comments asking that we not change our hours on the beach that dogs are allowed. So just a few items of information. Our beach is one of about 3 in this area. I think our beach, Caswell Beach, and Bald Head Island are ones that allow dogs on the beach. And I'm not sure that any of the others do. I know that Holden, Ocean Isle, Sunset, Curry, Carolina, I think the dogs are not allowed there. And so I'm just going to have to say that we need to enforce our ordinances, and we all need to pull together to help make sure that our ordinances are enforced. And we need to still pray that we don't have an incident. But I do think that there are a few things that could be strengthened in our ordinances, and maybe we can talk about that. But I do believe that enforcement is the key, and I know that at least I ran on wanting to be responsive to the community and our constituents, and so even though public safety is a duty of ours, so I'm going to be voting for no change.
I stopped counting at a little over 576 Facebook posts, emails, and phone calls. Those that voiced an opinion of limiting the times of the dogs allowed on the beach in the summer. I was very pleased because all but 2, it was out of concern for the dogs, for the heat, the hot sand. We have to depend on those people that have those dogs. I've been taking my dogs to the beach for 15 years. You can keep them cool. You can keep them protected. We have more dogs that are kept out in the hot sun and in kennels and so forth inland than we do on the beach. So I cannot express strongly enough how pleased I've been about the response to this issue. Like Council Pat, I wish all of you would respond to every issue your council discusses, because then there would be no doubt. Oak Island, you don't mess with people's dogs. I asked our animal control officers to do me a quick tally of the animal control calls they've received over the past 5 years. And we had in 2009 355 calls, 1 bite. It was a dog. The dog was impounded, quarantined, and issued a citation. 2010, 309 dogs at large and bite complaints. 30 of these were on the beach. 35 in 2009 on the beach. 30 in 2010. 1 bite, unable to locate the dog. 2011, 386, 33 on the beach, no bites. 17 warnings, 11 citations that year. 2012, 400 dogs at large and bite complaints, leash law. 2 bites. One of them both was leashed, and they were breaking up the dog fight. And the other one, somebody was petting the dog. It didn't happen on the beach. 2013, 400 dogs at large again, 18 on the beach strand. 1 bite, victim was intoxicated. Okay, that tells you.
You bite the dog or?
It doesn't say. Doesn't say whether the guy or the dog was the victim. There was 1 aggressive citation issued. As of June the 26th of 2014, we had 167 dog at large. 11 were on the beach. 4 aggressive, 2 were warned, and 3 of these calls were impounded. That's pretty good for the thousands of dogs that visit our beach. We're going to ask the town manager, I would like to formally ask the town manager to work with our police department and our animal control to step up the enforcement. I want increased community involvement. If you see a dog running at large, that means they're not on leash anywhere in town, not just on the beach strand. Please call and report that dog at large, because until we can get through to these people that you will be cited if you don't take care of your dog, then the problem's going to continue. Again, thank you everybody for your fantastic responses.
Nothing I can add to that.
Nothing you can add to that. Counselor Scott? Nope?
No.
Okay, please.
One question that one suggestion was made to me that we all have these cell phones now that can take pictures and sometimes videos, and I guess this is a question for our town attorney, but if someone took a video, are you allowed to take a video of someone not abiding by one of the town ordinances, such as dog off leash, or perhaps not picking up after the dog? Is that
Out in public, absolutely. You're
okay?
I would like to say one thing, though. One of the problems that we have, and Tammy, if you want to address this, you can. The big problem that she has is that when they have dogs that are at large, or somebody tells her that they're at large, she says, well, what I'm going to need is for you to come and testify to be able to deal with the problem. Well, then they say, well, I don't know about that. I don't think I want to do that. So that is a problem, because in order to prosecute that situation, you have to have witnesses that are willing to testify on that.
Even on the video, you'd have to authenticate the video. The police
That's
shouldn't just
if
take
the animal
video.
control officer doesn't witness the event.
Right.
Yeah.
But to answer Councilmember Painter's, or to follow up on that question, even if someone videos it and sends it in, emails it, or if they're not there to authenticate it, say I was operating it, I took it, this fairly and accurately represents what I saw that day, it's the same problem as someone not showing up to testify at the hearing. Which is not to say people shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that
Well, but our
follow up.
okay, I understand that. But at least our ordinances do provide for if the law, the animal control officer or a law enforcement officer observes the animal off leash, it can be impounded immediately.
If the dog's off leash, yes, they can do that, right?
I'm just, I think this is a good time to,
Or I should say, if it's not under the,
We can't just take their dog. I can issue them citations. We cannot just take their dog.
Okay, Tammy just said they can't just take their dog, they can issue a citation for, and,
well, if the dog, but if the owner's not anywhere around, then you can take the.
Right, then,
take the
yes.
dog.
That's what I thought he was saying.
I would like to ask that for next month's agenda, we review our ordinances as far as animal control's ability. If a dog is identified as a nuisance dog, not a dog bite, but if someone like this gentleman emailed, and in our animal control officer's opinion, this dog was creating a nuisance, see if we are allowed to give our animal control officers the authority to ban that dog from the beach for that day. I don't know whether that's possible.
We would probably need an ordinance change, but that, we could do that.
Now, if we could bring that back at next month's meeting for possible ordinance changes. So right now, as Councilor Painter pointed out to me, I didn't realize it, if a dog, they get a call about a nuisance dog, they're issued a citation, they have 48 hours to abate the nuisance. Duh. You know, they're going to be long gone off the beach.
I wouldn't charge them under that, I would charge them under a dog at large.
She would charge them under a dog, even if they're on leash and they're at large. If they're not under the owner's control, they're at large, okay?
All charges would be fact-specific.
Yes.
I mean, she's not making a blanket policy statement right now.
Fact specific. And also, I like to point out, as I found out not long ago, all of these citations that are issued, the fines that are paid, go directly to our school system. So if you're issued a citation, an animal control, any other ordinance violation, town is not making any money off of you. It's costing us money to keep these public safety officers. It goes directly to our school system, all of it. So I think that's it. Again, thank you to every single one of you that made this such a wonderful conversation that began from one email. Now we will go into the public comments section. Just in case, but we didn't have an inordinate number of people that signed up for public comments. I was going to ask that those that wanted to make comments other than the dogs issue be allowed to speak first, but I don't think we've got too many. First to sign up for public comments is Robert Fitzgerald.
Good evening. Before I start, I would like to say that it's terrible when your dog gets loose, not by your choice, and you get a call from the animal control that they have 2 prisoners. And it is appreciated, your work, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't mind, state your name and address, please.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Robert Fitzgerald, 404 West Yacht, Oak Island. I'm a little disappointed and a great deal discouraged. I've been here a number of years, and it was really neat. We had a group of people that planned for the future. I remember there's a lot of objections when we got to the 3 lanes in the road in the center here and adding the extra lane. The bridge, which some contended shouldn't be built off Middleton, but at the end of the island. We had a lot of buildings that were built, and along the way, when you're trying to do something, mistakes are made. And I don't mind making mistakes because that means I'm doing something. We had a bunch of great departments here. I think we had some great department heads and some tremendous staff. I don't know whether any one department is any more recognized than any others, but I happen to look at the rec department, and I was really amazed that the years of great evaluations, commendations, and then something happened. I looked at it and I thought, wow, we're having some personnel. Maybe it's not personnel, but maybe personal problems. Wow, all these great evaluations, and then all of a sudden it went to pieces. I'm not so sure whether these personal problems have taken over the personnel problems. I don't know what individuals might gain from the personal problems. I don't know what family members might gain from these personal issues. I don't know what friends or neighbors are making gains because all of a sudden these personal issues, and I emphasize personal, not personnel. I'm a bit bewildered. So I leave you with the fact that we're having some issues. I don't know whether they're personnel issues or personal issues, but it's strange when we have a department like the rec department that has been managed so well, has, still retains some great staff. You go in there, it's clean, neat, well organized, and all of a sudden it hit the fan this last year. What changed? Personnel? No. Personal? Maybe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Next, we have Roseanne Fortner. You still want to talk about the dogs?
Roseanne Fortner, 113 Paula Circle. When I heard about the issue that was being brought before council, dogs on the beach, I had flashbacks. In 2009, we collected hundreds of petition signatures when the proposal came forward to eliminate off-leash times for dogs completely. We didn't have much Facebook or other social media around then, so we went face-to-face to people on the beach in the neighborhoods and got those signatures, over 500, like now. We're excited now that the pet owners of Oak Island and a large and vocal component of our visitors all enjoy having the whole family together on the beach. That includes our dogs. A caution to council. When we react to one complaint, as we did in 2009 and again in 2014, we ignore the happy portion of the population and the joyous beach hours that make Oak Island one of the top 10 pet-friendly beaches. We don't expel the whole 8th grade when one kid breaks a rule. Instead, we enforce the school rules. We really need to get into the habit of telling complainers that we're doing our best and we'll try to do better with enforcement of our fair ordinances. Every complaint doesn't need to come to council for passage of a new rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Next is this Elspeth Miller? And I will say, as she comes to the podium, deep insistence that we discuss this, and courtesy added it to the agenda.
My name's Elsbeth Miller. I'm a resident of Oak Island and a property owner.
Give your address, please, for the record.
5068 Wincy Wind. I walk the beach almost every day with my dogs and love it. Part of the reason why I'm here. And because of my dogs, I end up talking to people. And the past week, the outrage on the beach is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Visitors who come here only because we have a dog-friendly beach. Residents who have retired here chose to buy property here because there's a dog-friendly beach. We have, as I've noticed this past weekend, police officers that patrol the beach, and they're up and down the entire length of the beach. I only walk small segments. But on occasion, I have encountered not so much dogs off the leash, but dogs that were tied up but showed aggression. And granted, very few. And I would like the very few problems to be addressed as opposed to punishing the masses. And the reason that Oak Island is such a wonderful community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is J.C. Moss.
J.C. Moss, 608 East Yacht Drive. I'd like to thank Councilman Weinkauf for his recognition of the Parks and Recreation Department. I hope a lot of you had a chance to participate in Beach Day last Wednesday. I would like to thank the Parks and Recreation Department for the fine job they did in putting everything together. The weather was beautiful for a change. I remember last year we was canceled because of weather, so the weather was really beautiful. We're so thankful for that. We had 6 food vendors, 3 craft vendors, 2 community information groups, and good music. We also had several games and rides that over 400 kids enjoyed. At the beach, we had games and sandcastle building, and it was estimated that there was over 1,200 people on the beach enjoying this participation. We had good media coverage, the Pilot and Star News and TV station, Channel 3 and Channel 6. I want to thank again the Parks and Recreation staff for the fine job they did. They put in a lot of hours last Tuesday. And I would also like to thank the volunteers who helped, because without them, we couldn't have made it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And in particular, the volunteers with the Beach Preservation Society that come out en masse every year at Beach Day to help. Next is Cindy Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Cindy Johnson. My address is 160 Northwest 13th Street. I am a full-time resident of Oak Island, and I am a responsible dog owner. My dog has an umbrella for the beach because she gets hot. She's a big dog. She's supposed to be a water dog, but she's not. She also has a beach lovers t-shirt because she loves the beach. She's 85 pounds of yellow lab, and she's never met a stranger. She entertains our guests a lot. As a member of the Beach Preservation Society, I fill up doggy bags at beach accesses with plastic bags so that others who enjoy taking their dogs to the beach can have bags to clean up after them. It's the right thing to do. That we're even having this conversation is ludicrous. One part-time resident who contacted the council via email certainly got a knee-jerk reaction. Let's make a change. Let's strengthen our existing ordinance. Let's have more town involvement. What about this? Let's try playing by the rules. Act like responsible adults. Have we just forgotten about just following the rules and enforcing what we have? If dogs are running loose on the beach or anywhere without leashes, if they're acting aggressively, call animal control. Call the police. They enforce our rules and regulations. We have these in place. Our Code of Ordinances, Section 446, unrestrained dogs, B7. It is unlawful at all times for a dangerous or vicious dog to be taken on a public beach access or on the public beach. If any dog is found unrestrained in violation of this subsection, the dog's owner may be charged criminally and may be fined $100 per offense. And the animal control officer is the one who is in charge. So let's not make any more rules or regulations. We've got those in place. And don't punish us, the people that live here full time, for just living here. We have y'all have larger issues to deal with than dogs on the beach. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Next is Betty Hupp.
I'm Betty Hupp. I live at 7916 East Yacht Drive, and I'm not going to talk about dogs. I have something else. I wrote a letter to the paper, and I want to read it because I want it to be said in its entirety. I wrote him, Mr. Bart Halme Dufrite, and I hope I said his name correctly. I said thank you from all of us residents on Oak Island for settling that 15-bedroom monstrosity, for ridding our island of yet another mega party house in a residential area, and for bringing us all together to oppose that sort of destruction. Thank you, Jeff Weinkauf, for the ordinance prohibiting larger than 7 bedrooms and for enough parking to accommodate those houses. Thank you, other council members who supported that ordinance. We understand why the ordinance had to be written as it was. With that said, the people from Airvac and Black and Veatch who reported on our sewer project repeated again that it was designed for 6.5 persons per parcel now, not lot, per parcel, during the season on the beach area, and 2.15 persons per household in the wooded area. That means, in my opinion, that no more than 4 to 5 bedrooms should be permitted with 5 parking spaces on the beach. And we little old gray-headed ladies in the woods, we want 3 bedrooms, and only I can call myself a little old gray-headed lady. For too long, developers, builders, and rental agencies have ruled this island. If there are 8 to 10 bedroom houses here, they should never have been allowed and should not be allowed to be rebuilt if they are destroyed over 50%. These persons want to make money. They care nothing for the quiet beauty and the peace that we have. Excessive development will destroy this island. Please notice who is on our planning board. That's an appointed group. They are developers, builders, rental agency personnel. Our next opportunity to have a more representation of citizens will come about when members are up for reappointment. Please take notice and retire them. Our elected city council is a diversified group who listens to the voters. By the way, we are educated enough to know when we're being scammed. To educate us to believe that we need a 199-room hotel, now that, my friends, is ludicrous. One of the people proposing this 199-room hotel is, I think, the man who gave Oak Island his money-bleeding golf course. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hupp. Next is Joel DeMondbrin. I think I pronounced it. And while he comes up, Cindy, out of every negative comes a positive. A negative email brought this community together, again, over an issue. Good thing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joel DeMundburn. I'm the General Manager of Oak Island Accommodations, and I reside at 116 Southeast 12th Street. I'm sure that we all can agree that tourism through vacation rental plays an extremely important role to the vitality of our area. Oak Island Accommodations manages 600 homes, and about a third of those allow dogs. Homes that allow dogs book more reservations than ones who don't. I have a few points to illustrate the direct economic impact that could result from a ban. Number one, potentially a loss of approximately $180,000 in accommodation tax revenue to the town of Oak Island from Oak Island Accommodations alone. These figures are based on a report ran solely from our pet-friendly reservations from the beginning of this year through December 31st. Number two, from January 1st through today, Oak Island Accommodations has spent an estimated $28,000 on pet control. That's mostly preventative pet control related to our pet-friendly rentals. Beyond the direct economic impact this has to these local businesses, visitors to our pet-friendly properties are spending additional dollars on shopping, dining, and more, resulting in sales tax revenue to the town. Number 3, our designation as a dog-friendly beach is a large part of helping our area stand out from all other beaches in the North Carolina along the Grand Strand. Why should Oak Island and Brunswick County residents care about continuing to attract visitors? The economic impact of travel on North Carolina counties, which is a study prepared for the North Carolina Division of Tourism, Film and Sports Development by the U.S. Travel Association, states that state and local tax revenues from travel to Brunswick County amounted to $47.39 million. This represents a $420.88 tax savings to each county resident. So that's 3 strong points there. Moving on to social media, specifically Facebook. And I know we may be divided on that, but it is what it is. And on our home page, we host a page, of course. In the last 24 hours, we've had well over 100 posts, with the majority being highly positive on this situation. I'll give you an example here. One says, "We come down at least twice a year, ban the dogs, and we simply will not be back. I've never seen an incident there in all the years we've been coming down. The article states that this is very rare, almost never heard of occurrence. Your status as a family-friendly beach will sink quickly." One other example here from a post on our page is, "Dogs are part of the family-friendly essence of Oak Island. As long as leashed, it is so much fun to walk the beach and meet and greet dogs," which I can say I even do that myself. Lastly, I want to read a letter sent in to me, an email sent to me by one of our owners. It says, "Madam Mayor and the honorable members of the Town Council, I own Sea Dogs, a dog-friendly 5-bedroom rental home on the West Beach. This year I have 23 rented weeks and 6 shorter stays, and almost all my guests bring dogs. My water use is about 11,000 gallons per billing cycle during the high season. I think I'm doing my part to reduce the sewer debt. If the town sharply restricts or eliminates dog beach access, I'm absolutely sure that my rental calendar would be much lighter. I purchased my home in 2011. I specifically researched dog beach rules when deciding where to make this large investment. All property owners are worried about the sewer debt, which is making life more difficult for everyone. We need to take steps to encourage increased vacation business so as to avoid further increases in rates. But we need to define and control that increase and to understand what draws people to Oak Island as opposed to Myrtle Beach. I have attached below a guest survey from this year, which I think says it all. And I won't read all of that, but a couple points are, one of the questions is, why did you choose Oak Island as your vacation destination? The answer was, this beach is family-oriented and pet-friendly. Number 2, what about Oak Island makes you likely to come back for vacation? Simply put, pet-friendly, 2 exclamation points. So, in short, this ban would not be a wise decision for the economic health of the area. I appreciate your time tonight and your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. DeMombrin and everyone else, you do understand that we moved that agenda item and council is going to take no action, okay, on anything that we have, right? We're going to remain Dog Fancy Magazine's one of the top 10 dog-friendly beaches in the United States. No, nothing's going to be done.
Madam Mayor, that item was addressed, just no motion was made, so it hadn't been removed. You considered it and decided not to take any action.
That's correct.
This way the minutes will reflect.
Okay. Nothing's changing. We have 5 more people signed up to speak about the dog issue. Do you guys still wish to speak? Pat Bruning? Okay. Larry Gerstenhaber? Yeah, want to speak? Come on up. Come on up.
I'm Larry Gerstenhaber, 204 Ocean Drive. I'm really delighted to find that I'm in agreement with so many of my fellow people. It's very rare to be in so much agreement here. So I'm going to pass on all my other comments. However, when we came here, looking for the dog ordinance on the website was very difficult. I don't know if that's still true because I haven't been on there. I would suggest as a gift to all of us, given what's just happened and the possibility from what I've heard tonight that I may be ignorant of some parts of that ordinance, that it be posted right on the front page of the website for a while at least.
That's a suggestion.
I'll ask Betty, I'll ask my webmaster if she can.
And in the print version, it's buried in the 3-inch thick municipal code.
Yeah, we can do that. Give me channel 16 point whatever.
So watch for that. I'll post on Facebook when it gets up there. Ken Gusso. No. Okay. Catherine DeSarno. Yep.
I'm at 329 Northeast 50th Street. I've been a homeowner here for 3 years. There were 2 reasons we specifically bought here. One was the dog issue, which I'm not going to go into detail about, but I appreciate the fact that that ordinance is not going to be changed because it is one of the primary reasons why we bought here and hope to retire here in 7 years. The second topic of conversation I've been hearing out and about the island this week that I've been here has been with high-rise buildings and commercial development for chain restaurants. And I would just wanted to take the opportunity while I had it here tonight just to voice my opinion that, you know, the second main reason why we bought here was because it was very family-friendly. I felt like when we came here 3 years ago for the first time that it was kind of a jump back into 1970, and, you know, it was a great place to raise my family. So I'd like to see it remain that way and continue to be a great place for me to bring my kids and hopefully my grandkids. So thank you.
Thank you. J.K. Summers. Speak. You got 5 minutes. Take it if you please. Everybody has 5 minutes.
I need 5 minutes.
Okay.
J.K. Summers, 1608 East Shot Drive. You know, I've been here, this is my 42nd year calling Oak Island my home. And there's not a whole lot of people left around here who can still say that. And with that said, when I was a little boy, I had a dog. There were no leash laws. And my dog ran around this island, and the neighbors would call, or Jones's restaurant called, see dogs out there getting their scraps in. You know, that was it. I was responsible for my dog. And that's the whole thing about the ordinance. It's not a dog issue, it's a dog owner issue. So to hear you say, let's enforce what we have, and there was a young lady that got up here talking about her water dog. Well, I've got a water dog too, and I still don't take him on the beach because it's too darn hot for him. He's sitting at home right now moping. You know, man. But then there was something said about signage. The beach ambassador said something about signage. I've seen the signs about picking up after the poop and stuff after your dogs and all that, but I didn't see a number that could be called. So I don't know if that's on the signs or not. Is there a number? There is?
The non-emergency number to our local police department is.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, so maybe make it a little bit more conspicuous. I don't know. I don't really, you know, when I'm going to the beach, I'm looking at the water. One other thing I wanted to bring up, you know, I understand the pressure that you guys are all under, the attorney, the town manager. You know, my dad was the mayor of Long Beach. My mom was a councilman in Long Beach. I was one of the first councilmen in town of Oak Island. I know what it's like to field the phone calls. Thank God we didn't have Facebook back then, but I know what it's like to wear the bullseye around town 24/7. And, you know, back then we had issues like, you know, the sewer, the second bridge, burning leaves. Oh, my gosh. You want to get a room full of people and start talking, take away the right to burn leaves. With that said, you know, there's other issues to be addressed, and, you know, like I see a lot of unlicensed, unregistered golf carts going up and down the main road with kids driving them. And that's a real hazard. And then the height restriction, we can get into that, and I'll leave that alone. Enough great things have been said. I just wanted to say, you know, in today's political environment, enough of our freedoms are being taken away. Don't take away our right to own our dog and be responsible for our choices in owning a dog and taking the dog to the beach. Now, I noticed in the ordinance it said October 15th to March 15th, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Now, that rings a bell with me because that's the beginning and the ending of oyster season. And those are very significant dates in my world, just because I love to go get oysters. But the 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., I would actually ask the council to consider expounding that time frame and allow us a little bit more freedom to be responsible dog owners and to enjoy the beach beyond the 9 a.m. time period. Thank you.
What do you guys think? Should we consider expanding the off-leash in the... All right. Madam Clerk, if you don't mind, add that to next month's agenda for discussion. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak about this topic or any other? Please. You need to come to the Yeah, we have to have it on the record for the minutes.
My name is Brenda Benton, 119 69th Street. And I don't have a dog. I did have a dog for 16 years. And I understand the dog lovers, but my problem is the people that aren't responsible. You wouldn't believe how many times we've been on the beach, people let their dogs loose. As soon as they see the policeman coming, they grab their leash and hook that dog up. That's the problem I have. There are children that are scared of dogs. There are adults scared of dogs. Then we were riding our golf cart, by the way. You're responsible for your dogs. I'm responsible for my golf cart. It is tagged. It has insurance. I did all the rules. So that same applies. But anyway, we saw two women, responsible dog owners, we thought, walking their dog. So we kind of watched as we went by. The dog pooped. We kept looking back. They didn't pick it up. They had their bags in their hand, but they didn't pick it up. And I see so much of that. And I see all the dogs walk by my lot, people letting their dog use the bathroom in my yard, not picking it up. So how do you enforce it when they grab the leashes when they see the police coming? How do you do that? They're watching, and, that's my problem, especially on the beach. That's all I have to say. I don't mind the dogs if you will enforce the rules.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak, please? Well, she's right.
You can testify against them. You sure can.
And while she's coming up, to all you dog owners that are irresponsible, don't pick up your dog poop and let them run off leash, you cannot fix stupid.
Jamie Wishart, 3100 Marsh Grove Lane at the Preserve. I'm a dog lover, dog owner, and what I was going to propose to consider is a certain section of the beach somewhere that could be designated certain hours for dog owners. Not a dog park, maybe a dog park, but a dog zone. Again, expecting everyone to continue being responsible for all these same things. Nothing's changing other than perhaps a designated location, at least maybe in the winter time. I think it's important to keep dogs on leash during summer because there are so many kids around. So it's a suggestion.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else, please? Malcolm, I'll get to you in just a minute. Marianne raised her hand first. Or she's in front of you anyway.
Mary Ann Brewer, 3524 East Pelican Drive, and I'm not talking about the dogs.
Okay.
And my cat doesn't walk on a leash, so it has to stay inside. During the week of the 4th of July, I expect the state fireworks law to be broken. I mean, it's just a given. But Sunday night, I thought World War III had started. And it wasn't beautiful fireworks that go boom. It wasn't that at all. It was boomers. You thought cannons were going off. And then they started going off on the other end of the island. Now, there's no way in common sense that policemen cannot hear that. It's not it's not an Oak Island rule or ordinance. It is a state law. And at some point, like I say, the week of the 4th, it's expected. I wish I had a penny for every dollar that was spent on illegal fireworks the week of the 4th. But it ain't the 4th anymore. And it's nighttime, and I had already decided that if it went on much longer, I was calling somebody. I didn't know who, but I was calling somebody. Because I don't think we ought to have to put up with that when it's bedtime. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Malcolm, and our police department and our town manager are looking at that issue. We had much more of an issue this year than I think we've ever had, and I want to see how the town clerk transcribes boom.
I think I'll leave that part out. Thanks for that challenge.
I'm Malcolm Morrison, 119 Southwest 21st Street, talking about animal traps. On the agenda tonight is looking at a possible revision to the ordinance on animal traps. And my view is that I don't think we need to make an adjustment to it. I went to the ordinance and looked at it, and I was a little confused with it. And animal control, and I read at the bottom that animal control officers do not trap or work with wildlife except if the case was rabies there. And so I had a misconception that they did the whole 9 yards, like raccoons, foxes, beaver, along with cats and dogs. So I got a little education as I tried to come up to speed on this. And I think that our animal control services, they provide traps if you go and ask for them. Is that not correct? For domesticated animals. And they are humane traps, are they not?
For domesticated animals.
And that's the thrust of what the ordinance is trying to get at, to use humane traps. And what happened in Southport, there was a lot of brouhaha about what was going over there about inhumane treatment of the cats over there. But what were you saying? You can't fix stupid? And what it is that people that don't follow the rules are not going to follow the change in ordinance that you're trying to implement there. What I would suggest is that the current ordinance as currently written, as well as the suggested amendment, does not make clear the distinction between wildlife and domestic animals such as the pets we have. I think the ordinance should make clear to readers which animals are within the jurisdiction of our animal control officers. The last line of the ordinance states, animal control officers do not trap or remove wildlife. And we're talking about things like beaver, deer, raccoon, foxes, and things like that. That was my mistake. I thought it was all kind of put together. So, the inhumane treatment of the cat in Southport was caused by the cat being inadvertently caught, or purposely, I don't know which, I can't judge that, caught his leg in a leg trap, okay? If the leg trap had been checked daily, as required by North Carolina trapping laws, the cat would have been discovered there and could have been released if it was an inadvertent accident there. For some reason, the cat was able to break loose from where the trap was anchored and then was out wandering around with it. Now, best management practices requires that the traps are securely fastened so the animals don't go off dragging the trap like that. There's 2 cases there where there's best management practices and a law that were not followed, and changing this ordinance is not going to improve it because we already have humane animal traps that can be made available to residents to help catch, if you have a nuisance there, an animal. And so I don't think we need to increase, changing ordinances. I'm for as minimal amount of ordinance and governing that we can get. Thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. Okay, that's all. We've been in session for an hour and 10 minutes. Before we go forward in the agenda, we're going to take a short break. Okay, we will call the meeting back to order. Next is committee appointments. We have no applications this month. Next is committee reports. Come on up.
Roseanne Fortner, co-chair of the Beach Preservation Society. We have 3 items to report tonight. Last month, Beach Preservation announced new categories of membership. We now can proudly announce that we have our first lifetime seashore protector, an individual who has put her financial support where her heart is, requesting no public recognition, but expecting us to continue to make a difference. Such special gifts enable beach preservation to do greater things for the environment we all love. Other interested individuals or groups can join or renew using the forms in our newsletter stacked over on the table. Second item, another way to contribute to beach preservation is to save those plastic grocery bags and put them into the upended mailboxes at the street end beach accesses. This time of year, our stock gets depleted faster than our adoptive beach parents can keep up. The bags are there for pet waste collection, but people use them to collect shells, or they fill 4 of them with sand to anchor their canopy poles. If you have a large amount of bags, please take them to the beach and stuff them in those boxes, or call us and we'll come and get them. We do need your plastic bags for our responsible pet owners. Finally, our next program for the North Carolina Aquarium will be this coming Tuesday, the 15th, at the Recreation Center at 2 p.m. With all of the craziness last week, we aren't sure if it's got into the pilot in time or not, so this is your announcement of it's going to be there Tuesday at 2 p.m. at the Rec Center. The topic is the wonder of whales. These are family programs with learning for all ages. Come early to get a good seat. We had 75 last time. See you there or on the beach walking our dogs.
Thank you. Any other representatives from committees want to make a report? If not, we'll go on to administrative reports. Mr. Foster, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Got a number of things I'm going to cover tonight, try to be speedy about as much as I can. First of all, I'd like for just a minute to thank all the department heads back there for the work that they did this weekend. It was sort of like a perfect storm with no pun intended. The hurricane and 4th of July activities all rolled into one. Some 30,000+ people that we have to take care of as visitors here, and I just want to thank every one of them for the exemplary job that they did. And I asked them to put together a little report of some of the things that they did as far as some statistics on what happened over the 4th. And so I asked for the police department, fire emergency rescue, and the utilities and solid waste to put this together, just so that the public has an idea of the scope of what we deal with on these holiday weekends. In the police department, from the date range of July 3rd through July 7th, there was a total of 261 dispatch calls that they had to follow up with. They did 23 incident reports. They had 7 arrests requiring them to take people out to Bolivia to have them booked. Accident reports, automobiles, 7 of those, 16 state violations. Warning citations, 13 of those. Plus, on top of that, it isn't enough. They did mutual aid calls to the Sheriff's Department, Ballhead Islands Public Safety, Bowling Spring Lakes Police Department, and the Southport Police Department. And they also assisted in special events activities, including Southport Parade and fireworks. EMS and fire. There were 23 medical calls during this period from the week of July 4th, 11 fire calls, 1 motor vehicle accident, and then 1 water rescue, where they pull somebody out from the ocean over here, for a total of 36 events that they took care of. In solid waste, from Wednesday, July 3rd through Sunday the 6th, the department collected 8 full dumpsters, 5 dump truck load of trash. This is just trash off of the beach. These are those containers that you see out along each one of the access ways. During that period of time, there was over 5.5 tons of trash that they picked up and hauled out. Let me say that again. 5.5 tons of garbage off of the beach where they had to haul them off. And the utilities department, which did an exemplary job, I feel like, in what they were able to do. The Middleton Vacuum Station transmitted 5.2 million gallons of waste during that period. Fish Factory Road, another 1.52 million gallons of waste, for a total of 6.72 million gallons. That's a lot. It's a whole lot. Only minor routine repairs were necessary. I think I sent a copy to the board and everyone about that. Received a number of calls about Middleton, where the utilities department, it was not a breakdown. In fact, what they did was they hooked up a bypass pump at the Middleton station so that in case of an electrical outage, that they would have a backup system so that the water wouldn't have to be cut off and that they could continue pumping solid waste or wastewater. So this is some of the numbers that we deal with on these holiday weekends, which are, to me, pretty astounding numbers that we are faced with.
While you're on that, please make a note that in his report, one of the stoppages in one of the lines was a part of a countertop. Kate Fick's stupid. Found part of a countertop in the sewer lines. Okay.
Okay. Secondly, is another part of my report. Dolphin Drive is completed according to our contract with Highland Paving. I've asked Mr. Michaud to start looking into getting bids on additional paving work for this summer while we still have the weather to do it. We've asked them to ask him to do some getting some bids from several companies, or many as we can get, to do work on putting an overlay on Yacht Drive, where we had some severe cuts, and hopefully we can pave over that. Also, a portion of Dolphin Drive that was not included in the bid package for some cuts that we feel like that need to be addressed, and also Northeast 58th Street, which needs some immediate attention. The staff is pleased, and we're all pleased with the paving and repair work that was done in designated portions of Dolphin Drive. On another announcement, I just want to advise that flags out in front of the building are not flying at this time. The rigging system needs to be replaced partly as a result of the hurricane or the tropical storm. So we're working on replacement of rigging and new flags, and we feel like that we can have this completed by tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have our flags back up. So I just want to make sure everybody knew why. On another note, as far as Time Warner Cable, we'll be in touch with, or have been in touch with Time Warner Cable about our old Channel 8 changing to a new call sign. We've seen the problem has been that the new call sign keeps changing, and it's been seen on channel 16.8, 16.10, and 16.2. It's like Russian roulette, trying to decide where you want to go to. So we're trying to get this fixed with Time Warner Cable as soon as we can. I'd like to ask the town clerk to talk just a minute about the National Weather Service and what she's been able to arrange with them.
Thank you. We're going to have Steve Pfaff from the National Weather Service office in Wilmington here tomorrow. He's going to record several PSAs for us just about general hurricane information, preparedness, differences between watch and warnings, riptide currents. I heard him speak at the county's hurricane seminar earlier this year and thought that would be a great idea. And we'll supply him with copies of his videos as well, and the county's going to be here also tomorrow, so we'll be able to get this information out to a lot of people.
Cool. And you're going to put it on Channel 8?
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Or Channel 16-8?
Whatever channel it appears on.
Whatever.
Cool. Good deal.
Beach tour. Lisa, I think, is working now, or is planning on getting a beach tour together of so we can take the board out to the beach at different times, so they're not all together at the same time.
Right, I'll poll council with an email. I've got some dates from Mr. Michelle, and I wanted to see what date we were going to set possibly for a workshop first as well.
And lastly, but not leastly, I have a note here where I want to thank, and the board would like to thank Representative Frank Auer for a letter of endorsement on the Eastern Channel Lower Lockwood Folly project that we're working on. Mr. Auer sent a letter of support to the Division of Water Quality for funding for this project, as much funding as we can get, and I think that we owe him a real big thank you for doing that. Okay, that's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Eads, please.
No report.
No report. Next, old business. Mr. Foster, discussion of possible action on the Phase 1 of the Lower Lockwood Folly Restoration Project.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. This is a proposal that we received from our engineering company. Let me get back to that real quick, if you don't mind just giving me a second. At our June meeting, the board approved trying to go ahead with the Lower Lockwood Folly Navigational and Habitat Restoration Project. And as a result of this, our engineering company, Moffitt Nichols, has submitted the proposal to proceed as soon as practical and as soon as to have the necessary permits before the dredging window is ended. And as you know, I think I've sent out a notification that we were successful in obtaining funding through the Division of Water Resources, thanks to the help of Councilor Painter and the Brunswick Beach Consortium and our staff here in putting together a proposal. And the proposal as presented for Moffitt Nichols total is $274,925. The grant funding that we received from the state is 50% of that at $137,500. So they felt like this was an important enough a project that they should go ahead and help us fund this part of it. So what I'm going to be asking the board for tonight is approval of the contract, or the proposal, I should say, as presented by Moffitt Nichols that I sent out to you earlier.
Would any council member like to make a motion, please?
Madam Mayor?
Please.
I move to accept the proposal submitted by Moffitt and Nichols and amend the budget in the amount of $274,925 to cover the costs as outlined in the proposal.
Have a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Councilor Medley. All those in favor, please.
Oh, that's right.
And it is unanimous.
Madam Mayor,
please.
I was just reminded by Kyle that something I should have mentioned. The Channel 8 or Channel 16 question mark, whichever one it is going to be out of commission for a while, starting possibly as soon as next week. So I just wanted to make that announcement. The reason being is that they're having to upgrade some of the equipment.
Okay.
And it's going to take some time to be able to do that.
So we'll put that information out on the website as soon as
And
we
we'll
get
put
back
that on
up.
Channel 16.
We're upgrading some of our video broadcast. Okay.
All right, I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's just something I'm glad.
You get to help field the calls from the people and the emails when they don't watch the council meeting on Channel 8. Okay, next, going new business section. We moved business item.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt as well.
Please.
I don't think we had a motion to approve the consent agenda.
You're right.
You are correct.
We did.
Back row reminded me. Thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Madam Mayor?
Please.
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion by Councilor Painter, seconded by Councilor Kaiser. All those in favor, please. Thank you. And I, like some of the others, I get confused sometimes on we've approved the agenda. Okay, next, I had added an agenda item because of a request from several people that do wildlife rehabilitation and rescue and animal rehabilitation and rescue after the issue in Southport of the cat that had to have its leg amputated because its leg was caught in a steel trap for over a week. Southport had discussed and were in the process of banning those types of traps, and possibly some others. I will remove this from consideration by the council to amend our ordinances, but I'd like to state why I'm removing this. Southport received a letter from the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission's General Counsel. It says it's come to our attention the town of Southport may be proposing an ordinance to ban a method of lawful trapping that is specifically authorized by the North Carolina general statutes. As you know, city ordinances that directly conflict with the state statute are generally not allowed, and the state statute usually preempts cities from enacting such ordinances. In this situation, he names the regulations, authorizes and regulates the use of traps, including steel leg hold traps, as well as traps used by wildlife service agents. We're concerned because this area of regulation has been specifically assigned to our agency by the legislature. He goes on to say, we would like to work with you to help resolve any issues you may have with regards to traps in hopes to find a solution that may meet the needs of your town while recognizing lawful trapping activity regulated by the Wildlife Resources Commission. So we'll be working with them and see if we can determine what we consider to be inhumane traps. There's probably nothing we can do.
Madam Mayor, if I may,
Please.
I put a call in to Erica Garner today that wasn't able to speak with her. The general statute she's referring to talks about wild animals, and there was some discussion earlier about domesticated animals. Perhaps not tonight, but we could certainly address the treatment of domesticated animals or with respect to trapping. But the statute, and I pulled it and I'll give it to the council if you like it. The statute she's referring to deals specifically with wild animals.
Okay.
And if the issue, I don't know if this cat in Southport was a domesticated cat or a feral cat or what it was. But
Got caught in a trap that was set to try to attempt to catch a fox.
yes, ma'am. I'm saying there's something we can still take a step forward and address it with respect to domesticated animals.
Good. Okay, good.
I suggest we table it tonight and do a little more research and go from there.
Okay. Thank you. Next is to schedule a workshop to discuss possible parking management plans.
Madam Mayor, I asked that be put on the agenda.
I saw a lot of grins in the audience when I said that, but long last.
It's come to the point where we need to look at what we're doing with parking as far as we want to make sure that Oak Island residents, first of all, have adequate areas that are reserved so they can use them. Because we have had reports that there's not enough spaces, and we will make sure that we do provide enough spaces for these residents. The other thing is that we need to look at is where they are, these no parking signs that we have, various ways that we can use a management plan. The town currently is expending quite a bit of resources in writing these tickets, hearing the appeals on the tickets, having the customer service people collect the money from these tickets. And all of this, as you know, all of this money, the town keeps, I think Bonnie's at 10%. 10% of this is all we keep. We're doing all the work, and the rest goes to the Brunswick County Board of Education, which is a fine institution, and we don't mind giving it to them. But then again, too, it'd be nice for us to be able to somehow get a little bit of this to help at least sustain our parking management obligation. And of course, as a part of this, we're looking at a potential management company coming in here and helping us with some ideas on that. So that's the reason we put it on. I think the problem was punctuated this past week with parking. I observe parking all up and down the beach. I go that way every day. And I was surprised at the number of cars parked in these side lots all up and down the beach here. It's amazing the number of cars that were there. And I don't think there was as many tickets given this time as I thought that there would be, but nonetheless, it is getting out of hand and something that we need to take a look at. So therefore, we would like to have a workshop on this, and we have asked a representative from a parking company to come down and at least talk to us about what we need to do.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do you have some dates you'd like to suggest? Mr. Foster, anyone?
How soon were you thinking?
I'm sorry?
How soon were you thinking?
Sometime preferably before the next board meeting we can, but if we don't, that's okay too, I guess, at this point.
What about July 24th? It's a Thursday.
I forgot to bring my calendar with me, but.
Jeff, how about you?
That worked for me. Tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything after that week, I'm good.
After that week.
I'm sorry, Jeff, you said that one would be tough for you to,
I've got guys going on vacation that week, so.
that week you're,
Whole
okay,
week.
choose another
28th,
week,
29th,
Madam Clerk.
30th. Does that sound good? Madam Clerk, how about polling, see about July 30th?
I was going to be on vacation that week.
What is the week before that? What's the Tuesday and Thursday of the week before that?
The 21st, 22nd.
He's on vacation.
No, I'm not.
I mean,
Oh, you're not?
14th, 15th, 16th.
is next week too soon, Mr. Foster?
I have to check. I think that we might be able to get, let's see, where's Chris? Is he back there? I'll have to check to see if her schedule, but we can go ahead and schedule it, and I'll just check with her and see, and then we can change it if we need to.
Bonnie said she's on
There's
vacation.
really no big
Bonnie said she was
rush.
on
I
vacation.
mean, we could do it
No,
the
there's
first
no
week
big-
in
I'm
August.
sorry, Carol?
Bonnie said she was on vacation.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Bonnie. I apologize. That's right.
May I make a suggestion? It doesn't sound like we'd be able to do it before the July council
Well,
meeting.
did we rule out the early part of the week, in that week of July? 21st,
I
2nd,
mean, we can do
22nd?
it, we can do it in August. I mean, at
23rd.
this point in time, it really, we can do it in August if you want.
Yeah, the council meeting's not until the 12th of August.
Oh, okay.
The whole week?
We have the 4th, there's a
Oh, I
Monday,
see.
5th is Tuesday.
There, I can do it there.
Okay, those weeks are out for other people, so,
So
okay.
the week after next, Councilor Weinkauf is on vacation, and you're on vacation the week after that, correct?
No, he's not. Ms. Schwerd was, and then I was, but his coworkers are out in between.
He
Oh,
has to
okay.
cover for his,
He needs to be at
Okay.
work.
Why don't you send out?
August 5th?
How about something like August the 6th, 5th,
you gone?
7th?
His birthday. Good for me.
Is that good? 5th, 6th, or 7th?
He's
Jim?
gone.
Jim can do it.
All right, the Tuesday after the August meeting, the 19th?
We're talking about the 5th, 6th, or 7th right now.
Jeff said he might not be available for
He
that.
may not be available that week either.
How about, well, that's next week's board meeting week. How about the third week in August?
That's good.
Is that good? 18th, 19th, 20th?
18th, 19th, 20th would be better
Carol?
for me that week.
Does that look good for you?
As far as I know.
Jan?
Tuesday, the 19th? Councilor Weinkauf, would you prefer that we do an evening meeting so you can get a full day's working? Is that okay with council, or would you rather staff do a morning meeting?
Well, if we do
Mr.
an
Foster?
Meeting.
If we do
Pardon?
an evening meeting, can you go,
I'm fine with that.
well, if we do an evening meeting, can you do it in one of those other weeks? The week of when your people are out, or no?
I can.
Oh. Which week was that, the 24th?
Yeah. we
The
can do
very
if we
first
do
date
it-
mentioned?
Yeah, if we do it.
Okay. Councilor Weinkauf just said if we do it July 24th, if we do an evening meeting, he'll be available that evening. So you want to set it July 24th at 6 p.m.?
Okay.
Okay.
Residents can come.
Okay. So the town council, all of you come out and watch us discuss the parking issue. We have as big a problem with that as we do the dogs. July 24th, 6 p.m. right here.
What day of the week is that?
Okay. Does any other
That's
council member have
Thursday.
anything we need to discuss?
We have a new business item 4. Direct staff to.
Oh, that's right.
seek local
Yes.
legislation.
Item number 4, we'd like to ask council to direct staff to seek local legislation to rescind our ETJs. Would you like to make a motion to direct staff to?
Yeah, what you just said.
Would you like
Councilor
an
Medlin makes the motion. Second, please.
Second.
By Councilor Painter.
Steve, did you hear the motion?
I heard it. I'm just going to ask if they like somebody for a little explanation of it.
Well, the ETJs have been in the news for quite a while. They were originally allowed for municipalities to control nothing but zoning and building codes. And back in 2009, 2010, when the legislature removed the authority for involuntary annexations and the county has kind of removed any inclination whatsoever to issue ETJs, we had the ETJ along the inlet waterway on the north side and part surrounding the Williamson property. Is that the only ETJ we have remaining to the town?
Josh?
Yea or nay?
Could you address that if you don't mind?
As it stands, we could extend our ETJ up to a mile completely around us where, we can do that as long as it's, there's no breaks in between. We are enforcing our ETJ powers at Sea-Watch, however, we've rescinded their permit so they can't do anything.
Well, the minutes reflect the action we took.
Yeah. Yeah, we no longer have approval for their development, so there's nothing to enforce. Mr. Foster and I started talking about this back in April, May 8th. We discussed a blog which came from the School of Government that basically says there is no procedure for relinquishing an ETJ, but they suggest and say that it's prudent that we would follow much of the procedures in creating one to relinquish it. The easiest method for you guys to do that, as I suggested, was to direct Mr. Foster to speak to the county manager and see if they would be amenable, since it is essentially a mutual agreement. Mr. Edwards, just for a little history, one of the things he and I both do is we peruse the General Assembly website every day to make sure that whatever you're doing and whatever Brian's doing, if we're all on the same page, we can basically cover everybody's wherewithals. And we're reading it, and he found where the town of Boone requested that they've got a local act, it's Senate Bill 865, and it basically is an act providing that the town of Boone shall not exercise the powers of extraterritorial jurisdiction. And then they can't do it anymore, which means for me, that means we don't waste resources on someplace we can't get tax dollars. If we went over there and enforced our code of ordinance, and we went over there and we enforced our building codes, you would be paying for the county to get their services for free, with no tax dollars ever being brought into the town, because you can no longer forcibly annex an area. They have to voluntarily do that. Two sets of taxes or one. I think we've all understood that people don't want to do that if they don't have to. So I would recommend that Mr. Foster and I spoke with Senator Rabin's office today. We couldn't get anything on the short session today. All the local bills and everything have already been approved. We would put this in writing. We would submit it to their offices, or to his office and to Representative Eiler's office. And the earliest that we would get it in front of them would be January. But having this out there gives you guys at your level and Mr. Foster at his level time to discuss it with the county, let you know their intents. If anything works out between now and then, you've got a 6-month time period. I can draft it, or Ms. Stites, she's very capable as well of drafting it. We can do whatever y'all need.
And that Sea-Watch area is the only remaining ETJ that we have.
The only one we're enforcing at this time.
Do we have other ETJs?
We could.
No, I mean, do we currently?
ETJ is a geographical area. It's 1 mile. We have ETJ. We're just not enforcing them.
Oh. I thought it was something that the county had to.
It's a mutual agreement, but basically because of the growth of municipalities, we were allowed to use that tool so we could ensure that as time went on, as the municipality basically overtook the county area, that we would have some, they would be pretty much in line with our standards already.
So what we would be doing with this motion would be removing ourselves from being able to enforce the ETJ.
No, you would be directing us at this time to seek that local act that would remove that
That's
ability.
the end result if the act passes.
If we get it passed, Senator Rabin gets it through, and Frank Eiler, they do their job, we get what we want, then we don't have that problem anymore.
Okay. Any other questions by council? Okay, all those in favor, please. And it is unanimous. Okay. Thank you, Josh. Okay, anything else we need to cover? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So moved, Councilor Scott, second by Councilor Kaiser. All those in favor, please. And it is unanimous. Thank you, everybody.